I actually never imagined that I will stand up here in front of you all in this national stage in Erlangga speech contest in 2012. But now it's become true, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very glad to stand up in front of many great people right now. Well, I'm here on my own foot to deliver my speech, which is today is going to be about youth, is nation savior from corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, talk about corruption. This is a very common issue nowadays, but it's not easy things to solve. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before I tell you why I did take this topic, let me give you one simple question. The question is as simple as that. Why corruption is harm? Ladies and gentlemen, I will take this kind of corruption in the more serious way. Because of what? Because now Indonesia already has target to be one of the biggest country in 2025, right? But if this kinds of corruption still happening nowadays, how could this kinds of this goal to be one of the biggest country in this world become true? Well, it will be very a nice dream, just only a dream that will never become true. Well, ladies and gentlemen, corruption is public principle behavior, which is enrich themselves by misuse the public authority entrusted to them. As an impact, it blocked the economical development because the money for society welfare is being misused to enrich oneself. International Criminal Court also already classified these kinds of corruption as very extraordinary crime, which has a same level with terrorism. How bad is it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, let's see the fact nowadays that is happening in our Indonesia about this corruption. Well, in Southeast Asia and also in Asian Pacific, Indonesia is now becoming the most corrupting country. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? I can show you this kinds of fact is really happened. Let's see out there. How many beggars out there, ladies and gentlemen? How could they be beggars? Because of what? Because the government or something like public principle behavior take their rights, forget a better quality of life, ladies and gentlemen. They lack of that, so they become a beggar, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is really serious problem nowadays. Well, we already noticed this kinds of corruption is harm. But why people do corruption? Well, there are lack of these two things. The first is that lack of morality. Morality is every single attitude that brings positive connection, also good relation each other. When we lack of that, it will be creating many cases, since people only emphasize their own willingness. And the second of all, they lack of moral humanity. What is actually humanity, ladies and gentlemen, is that the feeling we regardless to other people's suffering. Is the feeling that we careless to other people, which nowadays we can find every day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, these kinds of corruption is very common issues, right? We can see in our media mass, in our TV, in our newspaper. This is a really common attitude right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, how actually we solve these kinds of corruption? Well, feel all two legs. We have to feel our morality and also humanity. We have to practice these kinds of morality and also humanity to our youth generation. Because of what? Because the youth generation is the next future developer of our nation. So if we do care and nurture them well, they will become a very good, a very better, very best future developer in the future for our country. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not an illusion. Indonesia free from corruption is not an illusion. This is a goal. This is a goal that we can reach and can become a country, ladies and gentlemen. If we work, if we have something like a cooperation between us. Well, take a look at the New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. New Zealand has been classified by International Transparency as the cleanest country from corruption. Why, ladies and gentlemen? It's because they succeed to build humanity and also humanity to its youth, so that people people in New Zealand already take care to other people, prevent to take other people right, and work very well to their nation, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the thing that we should imitate from New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. I believe Indonesia can also be like that if we also planted our humanity and also morality in our young generation. Ladies and gentlemen, corruption is indeed rampage, but it doesn't mean we let this condition happen. The thing that we have to do is that prepare our young generation. Fill them with the morality and also humanity, which is people nowadays lack of that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is always a chance to stop this corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, everything needs money, but money is not everything. That's everyone should think about. Well, I think that's all of my speech. Sorry for being too serious, because this is really a serious topic for talking nowadays. Well, thank you very much for your attention. We are young, we are the young generation, we are the future developer of this country. Thank you very much for your attention.
Previous speaker said that in order to get rid of corruption, we need to make life more professional. And you have said that in order to get rid of corruption, we need to make life more moral. And those are both undoubtedly true statements. But I asked the previous speaker, and so I'll ask you now, what about the present situation? Corruption is everywhere. While you prepare your moral rearmament, what would you do?
It's short term, right? Well, actually, for me, in my opinion, there's actually two things to solve this corruption. The first is that come from the human itself. The human should be filled with morality and also humanity, that which all of us, or mostly all of us, lack of that, right? And the second of all, the government should change the law. I mean that the government should more strict the law to make it tight, to make people scared to do corruption, right? So to make this come true, ladies and gentlemen, there is actually we have to do it in the long term, not in the short term. Because of what? There is a lot of things we have to discuss first. The first is that about the consequences of making this law change, or it will be affected to the others or what. And the second is that this morality and also humanity should be planted in the long term to make sure there won't be any same mistakes by our young generation in the future. So corruption in the short term. This is a very, really dangerous thing. Even if in the short term we cannot deny this corruption is still going on. Well, thank you very much for all your attention.
Dan Asmi dari Makassar, terima kasih. Dan peserta BPK Penabur Bandung.
Ladies and gentlemen, and all my friends, my name is Teja Yemima. I'm from SMAC 2 BPK Penabur Bandung. Before I start, let me thank God for His grace to can gather in this place, in this great moment, Erlangga English Speech Contest. Today, I would like to deliver my speech about the importance of mastering English. What is mastering? Mastering is planning, directing, and controlling so it could be implemented in our life as well. Or, in the other words, mastering English means speaking in English in the right way without giving too much effort. Another question, why should we learn English? How big is the role of English for our daily life? First, increases our global understanding. English is a universal language. Everybody knows English. English helps us to understand about the global condition at this time. At least we know about the foreign terms lately. Second, opportunities to study abroad. Is anyone wants to study abroad here? Learn English from now. No one knows if the chance comes. You should be ready for it. Third, increases our chance in business. English has always something to do with international relationship, such as business relationship. If you want to do business with foreigners, of course, we should master English to connect with them. Fourth, expanding relation. We can make friends and connection with foreigners without any barrier. Because English itself can break the barrier that stands between countries. And the fifth, increases our value. People who masters English will automatically increase their personal value. For example, if they want to apply for a job in multinational companies, of course they will have an interview in English. And of course, if they pass it, they will get a higher position. And they can be sent to other countries as an expatriate. And of course, with a higher income. Those things show us how English has a big impact for our life. And now the question, what should we do to master English? What should we do? In what ways? First, love English. It will be useless if you study English harder, but you don't love what you do. Second, put your target. Put your target as higher as you can. For example, I want to get a scholarship for next 2 years. So I'm going to take English course for twice a week, on Monday and Thursday. That target will automatically motivate yourself. Third, start from small things. If you don't have time to take English course or whatever is that, you can start from your little lovable activities. For example, if you love watching movies, watch English movies. If you love reading books, read English books. Fourth, this is the last but the most important. Encourage yourself. I give you a problem. English is a must curriculum in Indonesia. Every student in Indonesia will study English for 12 years. That's a long time. But why? Only a few of them can speak and write in English well. It means studying English is not enough. We have to build our courage to study English harder, to use English in every aspect of our life. For example, what do you do when you meet foreigners on the street and they ask you something? Most of us usually will try to avoid the country. Well, actually, we mustn't do that. We should be brave to answer that question. We should be brave to chat with them. I know, learning English may not be easy, but it doesn't we stop learning. It doesn't mean we stop learning. Try to press ourselves on to learn English harder. When you feel not confident or nervous when speaking English, it isn't your fault. We're still on content of learning. So now, what are you waiting for? Let's make our commitment to study English harder. Let's build our courage to use English in every aspect of our life. And now, the last question. When should we learn English? The answer is now. That's all my speech. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon.
It's kind of endangering nationalism. And could you give an example or an argument that mastering English can be a weapon to defend our country?
Okay. Promoting the beauty of Indonesia to the world if you don't master the universal language. If you want to talk bahasa with French, with people in Europe, they wouldn't understand. They will not understand. So the point is, we have to master English. That's a weapon to like nationalism. Nationalism. Okay, make it clear. When you master English, if the government say students should promote Indonesia to the international world or promote the beauty, the culture, everything, of course we should use English as our language. Of course we use English as our language to tell the world that Indonesia is beauty, the culture of Indonesia, that Indonesia has a potential, has ability. Of course we must use English as our language because English is an international language. As I've told you before, everybody knows English. So mastering English is a weapon for us to increase our nationalism, to increase that Indonesia is the best country. Mastering English It's basic. It's really base of everything. It's really the important of mastering, of promoting the beauty of Indonesia. That's if you want to do something like I've told you before, English has always something to do with international language. So that's already clear that mastering English is a weapon for us to increase our nationalism. That's it.
The historical record tells us clearly how youth became the pioneer of the birth of any major changes. Dear judges, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. If we trace backwards how in 18th century in China, with the spirit of nationalism raised Sun Yat-sen, a young China leader who was able to bring China from an old and traditional style of government into a new and more modern style of government. Similarly, in Indonesia, a true youth came from different ethnic backgrounds were able to reduce their ego and primordialism to build a large joint commitment. One nation, one language, and one land. Indonesia, on October 28, 1928, which is also known as the Oath of the Youth. Nowadays, our nation's problem that are very classic and disturbing us is the unbalanced number of job fields compared to the job seekers. Based on Bappenas, the number of unemployed in Indonesia reached 10.6 million. 10.6 million people. From this data, we can emphasize the severity of government's responsibility to prepare the appropriate number of job fields for the job seekers. And I believe, with the support of many parties, our government may be able to solve this problem in a short period of time. And do you know how to solve this problem? This problem can be solved by entrepreneurship. As Wikipedia defines it, entrepreneurship is the act of undertaking business, finance, and economic and an effort to transform those innovations into economic goods. And we are the young leaders of this nation. We should have the spirit of nationalism and entrepreneurship. And here I'll share some tips so that all of us could be an entrepreneurial venture. First, self-suggestion. Always say, I can. I can. Yes, I can. As loud and as fast as possible, especially when you at a state of fear and impotence. Why? Because this kind of self-suggestion will give us positive energy and makes us think positively. It will be better if this kind of self-suggestion also followed by body gesture support. For example, legs stand still, hand clenched in the air, and everything will make you feel more comfortable and excited than ever. Second, if you do not dare to start, why don't you try to eliminate fear? Dear audience, people commonly afraid to be an entrepreneur because they are afraid to fail. Based on Harvard University research, 93% people that more concerned about details are likely to suffer from failure. So why don't we start to concern more about details and we're going to be a great entrepreneurial venture. And the last is, don't just silence and listen. Do it now. As a proverb says that, someone certainly could if forced. Well, actually, our fear will slowly fade if we already jump to the role of it. And so I believe all of us will be able to manage and understand the world of entrepreneurship if we already venture into the business. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a creative and innovative person, if you are if you are the young leaders and the young generations of this nation, and if you got the spirit of entrepreneurship and nationalism, then let's start to build this country in an entrepreneurship way. But remember, when you venture into any business, venture with your heart. And don't be afraid to fail, for it's in the failure that we succeed.
Thank you for your time and attention, and have a nice day.
Very nice. It's very convincing, very energetic, and you suggest that we should consider to become entrepreneurs, right? Because there will not be enough jobs in Indonesia, and therefore we should be courageous enough to start our own business, right? Right. And then if you suggest it to your friends, and then as you said that to become entrepreneurs we have to be ready mentally, because there's a high risk it's very high risk, and then the failures is very hard, right? And then we have to be concerned with a lot of details, a lot of preparation. Now, my question